Welcome to my channel, Train, Don't Strain with me, Mountain Jace. In this series, I want to demonstrate exactly how to target a muscle using the core tenets I expounded in my earlier Foundations of Fitness videos. If you haven't yet had a chance to watch them, I strongly encourage that you do. They will revolutionize the way you approach your gym training sessions. So, what I will show you today is me hitting my shoulders to ensure I go deep into the debilitation zone. That is the zone by which you have torn so many muscle fibers that the body is forced to triple B, build back better. The key elements I want you to pay particular attention to are, number one, how I train using my patented Stairway to Heavenly Gains matrix. That is, that I must ensure every step up this imaginary staircase is stood upon long enough for a signal to be sent to the brain in order to illuminate the corresponding hypothetical light bulb at the top of the positive range of movement, before I return to my start position doing the exact same thing in reverse. The goal is to have as many of the 50 bulbs I discussed in episode 3 of my Foundations of Fitness turn on and stay on for each and every repetition. Number two, that I'm engaging the muscle just as intensely during the negative range as I do in the positive, which I explain in episode 10 of the same series entitled Why Negative Gym Training is Just So Positive for You. Number three, that the rest periods between sets are limited to around a minute. The 3D benefits to your muscle are discussed at length in episode 4, and that I always start the next set whilst my breathing remains noticeably elevated. Number 4, finally and crucially, because this is another area where people throw away great chunks of training gains, see how at the start of the positive move I avoid excessive acceleration, because at this point the relative weight as felt by my muscle is close to zero. And again, at the highest point, when I change from the positive to the negative direction, I don't just let the handles accelerate downwards thanks to the force of gravity and with no muscle interaction, which in effect is equivalent to resting. Constant energy engagement is key. Note also that I do no warm-up sets, but start at my optimal weight, and then, as I tear muscle fibers, which clearly make me weaker, I reduce the weight. If you're doing the exact opposite, i.e. continuously adding weight after every set, then you're either a miracle of science, where you get stronger even as your muscles are supposedly torn, or you're deluding yourself and you never really hit the muscle, but have just learnt to perfect the art of cheating. See my video number 6 entitled Seek and Destroy. Anyway, time is precious, so let's just jump straight in. Okay, so this is me taking my position at the shoulder press machine, very common item in most gyms across the country and indeed across the world. The key thing to look out for here is how connected I am with the weight at all times, both on the down movement, which is the negative, and the positive, which is the pushing up movement. At no time can you see my arms either free falling, which is me just resting, and then they certainly aren't bouncing. I'm trying to accelerate when there's a change in direction. I try and accelerate at a constant pace. So I'm going down, making sure I'm connected all the way through, and then pushing up. I'm avoiding locking my arms out, because as soon as I lock my arms out, all that downward force that should be in the muscle has now just transferred over to the bone. And then that's counterproductive, because not only am I not training the muscles, but they're actually resting. So that means that repetition starts again at 0 as far as my body is concerned when it counts how much effort I've made. And I explain this in my Foundations of Fitness, specifically that one that deals with the Stairway to Heavenly Gains. And that's a very good and very important video to watch. It's number 9 in that series. So I was engaged with the muscle for 1 minute. I'm now taking less time to recover. As you can see, although I've only just done 1 set, I'm breathing heavily. That's because I've burnt oxygen, and that tells me that my muscles have been firing. Muscles require oxygen for them to create kinetic energy. So now into the second set again. I go up in 1 unit of time and then down in 2 or 3 units of time. That's the ratio. As you can see, my legs might be moving from side to side, but they're not out in front of me, thrusting up energy through my body so that I can then slingshot my arms higher and then avoid connecting with any shoulder muscle fiber. So this is me just changing the position of the camera just in case there's some information to be gained from a different angle. Basically, this is run real time. So from the moment I start training to the moment I end, which is approximately 4 3/4 minutes. And then that's it. So as you can see, I'm breathing heavily. Nothing I can do about this. It's an instinctive response, as I say, to going into a oxygen deficit. The lungs are pulling in more air. Last set, I only do 3 sets. I explain about why this is so vitally important in my Foundations of Fitness series, and that's number 5 of that series. Pushing up, not spending any time locked at the top, not spending any time paused at the bottom. Now it's starting to burn. My shoulders are burning like hell. I'm consuming huge quantities of oxygen to make those muscles work. As you can see, I'm breathing heavily. If you're not breathing heavily at the end of your set, there can be no way that you are training. It's impossible for your muscles to use their maximum amount of effort whilst using hardly any oxygen, the fuel it requires to burn. So when I'm breathing like that, I know that I've trained, and then that tells me to go on to something else. The job is done. So just slowly recovering, and that's the shoulder workout done for a whole week.